All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Blunt Conversations, hosted by Blunt Brunch. This episode is sponsored by 420 Collections. Last month, we spent each week talking about the importance of serving on boards. And now, for the month of February, we're going to be changing the discussion to restoration of a woman, discussing mental and physical health in the workplace. As we continue to bounce back from the pandemic, it's been shown that women are experiencing higher levels of mental and physical health challenges. Each week, we will be speaking with leaders who are going to help us raise awareness on the importance of supporting women's mental and physical health in the workplace. Today, we're going to be hearing from a colleague who is an amazing leader in this space. I am so honored to introduce you to Sonia Singh, the happy therapist. She is a double board licensed psychotherapist who specializes in alternative therapies and is the executive director and owner of the Happy Clinic and Center of Inner Transformation. So it's my honor to bring her on the screen today. Hello, Sonia.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, thanks for
I'm
being
excited to
here.
join you today for a very special conversation, of course. And I think that it definitely comes out of a very interesting time of the year, especially with tomorrow being a holiday that celebrates
Valentine's.
love, right?
Yeah.
We get to actually talk about health, which is, or should be the foundation of where our love begins.
That's so true. That is so true. It all starts with us. So, why don't we give the viewers a little background on your amazing education and just experience in this field? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and why you are
Sure.
the happy therapist. I just love that name so much. It's awesome.
So, so the Happy Therapist is my trademark business name. It was actually given to me at a point in my life where at one time I worked as a substance abuse therapist. So this is going back about 12 to 13 years. When I first started my career as a therapist, I was a substance abuse therapist. So I worked with people that pretty much caught legal cases involving drugs or some type of illicit illegal substance. With that being said, these clients had to come into my program and I was their therapist. Some of these clients were even cannabis consumers. They were illegally using cannabis in states which at the time we didn't have a recreational law, we only had medical laws. So before recreational cannabis use was actually a modern day thing, people did get in trouble for getting caught
And
with
they still
marijuana
are, right? I mean, there's places where people are still getting in
all
trouble.
over the country.
Right.
Absolutely. So I'm located in the East Coast. I have an office in Jersey City, New Jersey, as well as Brooklyn, New York. And I know that you're over there in the East Coast. So, throughout our whole country, there's so many, people that are still, going through going through being punished for their cannabis use. So I developed the name the Happy Therapist because I had to find a way to enjoy that type of job. You could imagine that's not the funnest type of job to have, but that's how I was able to begin my career as a psychotherapist, and I got the opportunity to work with a very special population. And that was people that were self-medicating themselves with substances to treat mental health conditions. However, there were uh, medications at the time, such as medical cannabis. Nowadays, we also have, psilocybin and LSD and ketamine and DMT that's joining that roster. But these substances actually assist in alleviating and addressing some of the symptoms related to our mental health challenges or those clients' mental health challenges. So I became the happy therapist because working in a program like that, people are court ordered. They don't know who they're going to be working with. And because I had a positive demeanor, and as I shared, it was a difficult job to have. So I had to develop a positive attitude and develop some type of meaning or purpose behind my day-to-day work because it wasn't the funnest. Working with people that don't want to go to therapy, that don't want to get help, that really think that they don't even have a problem that led them to being in a court mandated type of therapy setting in the first place. So, in that capacity, people started calling me the happy therapist. And I think that it was very fitting. So at that point, it just stuck.
I love that. So, is that, I mean, it kind of brings me into our first question, is that the beginning of what really brought you into the cannabis industry was through your work as a substance abuse counselor, or where did that all begin?
Yeah, I wanted to create an alternative pathway for people to legally use cannabis as a medicine to help address their mental health challenges. So there were a lot of people that were self-medicating for anxiety, self-medicating for trauma, self-medicating for depression. And I thought that it would be wise to create and develop a program that assisted people in doing that in a healthy way. So overall, it was a harm reduction program that I created. And the intention was to create a healthy and a safe alternative pathway so that people could use cannabis and they could use it as a actual medicine, but they're incorporating into their lifestyle in a healthy way. So that's how I got involved in cannabis, trying to create a healthy solution for people that might find cannabis desirable, and that's cannabis consumers and cannabis curious consumers.
That's beautiful. So you now have a business called Center of Inner Transformations and Alternative Mental Health and Substance Use Therapies. So that is basically the premise of what you do with individuals. You treat them um, with the different modalities, including cannabis. Is that correct?
Yes. So
That is beautiful.
it's
Where were you in my life all these years? I needed a therapist like you.
And then, so a lot of people feel the same. I think
Yeah.
that traditional therapy has very low success rates for a reason. Some people can benefit from, well, I think everybody could benefit from working with a therapist. Everyone can always benefit from working on themselves with someone
Right.
that they feel that they can open up to and develop a relationship of trust, to work on the things that will probably be getting in the way of them living up to their fullest potential. So, cannabis is definitely a way that, people can do that. It's an alternative instead of using a psychotropic like
Right.
Xanax or Zoloft. Um, Using cannabis can also, provide some relief. It's also a mind altering substance. It also has to be dosed, and it has to be used in a way like similar to how we use medication for individuals that are suffering from, like, actual pills, psychotropic medication for individuals that are suffering from mental health conditions. You could also use other medications, but when we apply those medications, the results, the effects, it's all going to be different. So we have to manage that, with specific skills and specific tools that anyone could really learn, and they can add and adjust into their lifestyle and be successful at it.
I just have to ask for everybody else that's watching, do you do any Zoom therapies? Like, are you available online possibly? Like, I'm
So
sure
my
there's other
business
people
is
watching, but
actually a fully telehealth business.
oh, okay.
So
Okay.
what that means is that we offer group services in person, but all of our individual services are offered via video. So we use a
Wow.
HIPAA compliant telehealth software. But yeah, we use video to
That is
engage our clients.
amazing. That is
So
so
they're
cool,
anywhere.
Sonia.
They're in their beds, they're in their private offices, they're on their
Wow.
couches, they're
Next
wherever
level.
they can access, some privacy pretty much.
That is so cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing more about you and your ventures, which goes so in alignment with our topic for the month. So let's get straight into it. Why do you think it's important that businesses are prioritizing mental health and well-being for women at work?
Well, women wear a lot of hats, and women take on a lot of responsibilities. Not to say that men don't, but women, they play an integral role in their families. They,
They're
give
the
more of
glue.
themselves. They
You know,
are, and they
like,
also give themselves emotionally. So even when, you do have assistance or support, at home with household responsibilities or with responsibilities with children, you still have that emotional output that women naturally always give out. Women also, have to take care of themselves physically more so than men. Not to say that men don't, suffer from, physical health conditions, but they don't have they don't have the, hormonal discharges that we do. They don't experience their periods, right? They don't go through that cycle. And that has to be nurtured. I think in our
right.
society, there's so many parts of us parts of women's lifestyles and health and a lot of our health needs that go neglected because we are often pulled in different directions to take care of other things.
That's
So
so true. And then we feel guilty for prioritizing ourselves. Like,
they do. They
aren't we
feel
supposed to put
shame.
the
They
mask
feel
on
guilt.
first before applying it to others? Isn't that what they say when you ride the plane? So should
Yeah.
apply to life.
Yeah, and women are often the ones that make sure everybody eats and they eat last. They make sure
Yeah.
everybody's good and then they're taken care of last. That has just been how women have been able to advocate for themselves, and we have been able to make strides in modern day society overall. But at the same time, that goes at the cost of our own wellness needs. So when you're giving yourself in so many different areas of your life, like something has to be sacrificed. And oftentimes that becomes ourselves.
Right. So spot on. And I see a lot of
Mhm.
our viewers are like spot on, agreeing,
Mhm.
just yes, all the things. So thank you. In your experience, what are three best practices that you've seen employers do to support women's mental health or physical health?
So, number one, give them a realistic and balanced workload. And realistic means, something that that person can actually manage with being able to manage everything else that they got going on. Um,
Right.
that means that you will experience less burnout, that you will be able to manage your stress better. Stress is unavoidable at work. Just the idea of working stresses me out.
Thank God we're
Yeah.
in the weed industry. That's all I gotta say, because
We have a lot of things, a lot of
yeah.
supplements that are able to help us,
Yeah.
balance and manage the stressors. However, um, to avoid burnout and minimize stress, the number one thing is to assess the workloads and how that could be affecting somebody's productivity and positivity on the job. That ultimately affects the work culture and the work environment and, how they feel about that job. So, primarily just assessing the workload. That's number one. Number two, I would say focus on well being. Um, Jobs that provide support and education around, health and how to prioritize that tend to have better employees. So that's something that a lot of workplaces have been incorporating these days is that they're actually offering time off for more than just sick time or vacation time. What about having self-care days? What about giving your employees like wellness days? Not just for
Wow.
appointment
I don't know why I
visits,
got
just for
goosebumps.
doctor visits, but what about because they need to have a mental health day, because they
I
need
love
to be
that.
able to just exist one day and take care of their own personal needs. And then assessing, how often a person really needs that to be able to, be healthy. A lot of times we get so ran down and invest because we're so invested and we spend most of our times in our jobs, in our workplaces, that, we don't really take the days off to just not work and not think about work, to set those boundaries and actually have time just for ourselves while setting boundaries with the other things that take us away from us, which includes people, places, and things, our families included. Just wanted
This
to add
is
that in.
so spot on. And you said you offer group therapy. So like if a corporation or a business owner, a boss babe is watching this right now and she's like, I need this in my workplace. Like I need to talk to Sonia and have some kind of group situation happen. You can facilitate that too for a team.
Absolutely. I think
I
that
love that.
a lot of corporations do have days where they offer that type of education and group therapy to their employees. They also offer employee assistant programs. So for anyone that has an employee assistance program, that actually offers a mental health benefit. So some jobs might offer like 5 mental health sessions a year. In my opinion, 5 mental health sessions is really not enough. However, it's something. So if your job offers you an employee assistance program, it might be in your best interest to
Take
take
advantage of
advantage
it.
of. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. These are really great advice for women watching, but also great advice for women watching who run businesses. I really love this. So I want to be mindful of the time. I want to jump into, as a business owner yourself, can you share a few personal examples of how you practice taking care of your mental health and well-being at the workplace?
So having good tools. One thing that everyone would benefit from is practicing attunement skills. So, like an attunement skill would be considered meditation, mindfulness, anything that allows them to just be present in the moment and then assess themselves. We go through life so fast. We have so many things going on from moment to moment that sometimes it's hard for us to just slow down. But that's necessary for us to be well. We can't be well if we're not attuned to how we're feeling, how we're thinking, and that goes beyond, like, the feeling is beyond how we physically feel. It's about how we're emotionally feeling too. A lot of times in society, women have to mask their emotions and level up with men because we have to perform. We're expected to perform at similar levels as men do when we're in arenas where men are our counterparts and our colleagues. So we are not the same as men. We cannot perform the same as men. We have to take care of ourselves at elite, in elite ways for us to perform anywhere near where a man can. However, I do believe that women are talented and strong and resilient enough to do it better. Just my opinion. um but
We
attuning
just need those
yourself to
self-care days. That's all. We just got to make sure we checking in on self.
good self-care. So that's the thing. Good self-care. I take breaks. It's not just about self-care and nutrition and getting good rest, the things that we do around our job to keep us healthy on the job. But, during our work hours, we have to attune ourselves to what we need. If we need a break, sometimes we need a break. If our workload or, the things that are going on, from day to day, is causing us stress, we can't just allow that stress to just exist. Stress is a natural occurring thing when we're working. We're going to experience different levels of stress, different degrees of stress, and we all experience stress differently, depending on what's going on. However, we all have to have coping tools to be able to address that stress so that it doesn't affect our health overall. So that's a part of my management, is that I created systems that allow me to be healthy on the job. And once again, that means that, I give myself like breaks in between, even if it's just like 10 minutes here and there, I might just have to sit at my desk and, do some mindfulness meditation,
Like a
10 minutes
woosah.
to yourself. Yeah, 10 minutes to yourself. That, 10 to 15 minutes sometimes is all you need to, reframe your thinking and your feeling and restabilize your resilience so that, you could continue to do all that you do.
I just really appreciate this whole conversation. I felt like I needed to hear it. I don't know about any of our other viewers, but thank
Very
you for
reinforcing. It
thank you for
is.
allowing us to have the space to have this conversation and support women and individuals through mental health. It is a really big thing, I feel like taboo kind of subject in America. And I feel like the more that we talk about it and have these conversations, the more normalized it'll be that it's okay to talk to somebody about the things you need. It's okay to take self-care. It's okay to take breaks. It's okay to recharge your battery. We're always so go, go, go. So just thank you so much for this.
Those are the external pressures.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that, we are the master of ourselves, but most of the times for our whole life, we have to work on mastering ourselves. So those are the external pressures and expectations that are constantly, driving those internal stressors that you just shared. But that's where good self-care skills, and good health practices, come in and can make a big difference. So that's why I definitely suggest that, everyone really kind of assess what coping school, like ask yourself, what kind of coping skills do I have to deal with myself? And when I say myself, that's always your health at work. And, whatever comes out of that, that's where you'll be able to assess where the work needs to be done.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you so much for your time today and this empowering conversation. Before we end, where can our viewers connect with you if they have any additional questions or final thoughts?
So my website is coithealth.com. So that's COITHEALTH.com. I'm the Happy Therapist on Instagram. On Facebook, you could find me at the Happy Clinic. That's actually our new business name. So we're the Center of Inner Transformations, but we're doing business in New York City as the Happy Clinic now. So you can find me on Facebook as the Happy Clinic. And then LinkedIn, you could find me as Sonia Singh.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you so much again for joining us, everyone. And thank you for tuning in. It has been a great conversation, Sonia. And we look forward to having more blunt conversation with you in the future. Thank you.
I look forward to you guys coming out to New York City and bringing Blunt Brunch out here.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you. Oops, sorry. Thank you so much, Sonia.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you again to all our viewers watching. I just want to give another shout out to today's sponsor, 420 Collections, for empowering and supporting the Blunt Brunch mission. Another women-owned brand, retail, manufacturing organization out of New Mexico and manufacturers out of Arizona. So if you want to align with other women-owned businesses, 420 Collections is available. This discussion was a powerful beginning of an essential dialogue. There's no quick fix for mental wellness, nor will any single initiative provide the support that women need to thrive at work. But prioritizing the well-being of women in your organization can unlock an engaged unstoppable workforce that is able to achieve their full potential. And with these weekly blunt conversations, we hope we can make a bit of an impact by sharing, educating, and connecting with you individuals in this space who have passion to share their thoughts and on these important topics, such like Sonia was today. Thank you all again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your evening and save the date for our next Tuesday, where Adelia will be joined by Dr. Lola Ahonoba, Pharma D, as they continue on this month's blunt topic. We'll see you all then. Thank you.